to me, the American dream, that you can be born into slavery. You can be the son of an enslaved woman who had a child with the owner and still gain your freedom and then become a landowner. But every now and then we get these big, incredible, larger than life ancestors. And that's who Noel Condé is for me. And so I'm so proud to speak his name. I'm Danielle Romero. Thank you so much for being with me here on my channel where we talk about American identity and family stories. And this is one of those family story videos. I'm going to try to do this unscripted as possible. That's been my approach for these videos. I have my deep historical dives that require a lot of research, and I do script out a lot of what I'm going to say to make sure I'm sticking to the primary source information. But for these family stories, I'm not winging it, but I want it to feel a little bit more like we're just sitting on the couch together, having a coffee and talking. So I want to tell you about an ancestor of mine I've talked a lot about. I may have talked about this ancestor probably more than almost any ancestor on this channel. And this is my fifth grandfather. His name is Noel Condé, and he was born enslaved. And he has a revolutionary story, but he went on to make history in other ways that really inspired me. I went to Louisiana, I think it was a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and I was so thankful that Leah Dunn and others at Melrose Plantation made it possible for me to hold the bricks that my grandfather likely made. At another plantation, they had preserved them when that plantation burned down and brought them over to Melrose Plantation. And you can watch those videos. I can link to those below. This story is actually about what he did after he became a free man of color. And I am saying that phrase in particular because that is a phrase that I found on some of the legal documents for land he purchased, FMC. So after gaining his freedom, Noel didn't just rest on his laurels, so to speak. He actually secured his daughter's freedom. He manumitted his daughter. And I talk a little bit about that in another video. But then in 1846, and again in 1860, right before he died in 1861, he secured 2 land patents in Natchitoches Parish. This is in Louisiana. This is the parish that my great-grandmother was born. This is her great-great-grandpa. These weren't just pieces of land. These aren't just pieces of land. To me, these are symbols of victory and a new beginning for our family. And to me, the American dream, that you can be born into slavery. You can be the son of an enslaved woman who had a child with the owner and still gain your freedom and then become a landowner. Like this is an incredible story, and it is one that gives me so much strength when I think about all the things that had to happen to get me to the place where I am at. So I have seen the land certificates. I can put them up on here. I haven't seen the actual ones. I believe that the originals are in Washington, D.C., and I would love to take you with me to go there and touch those. Like I can't even imagine what it would be like to touch the actual piece of paper. But I have copies that I found. They're not really signed, but signed by both President James Buchanan and President Polk, because he bought them at different times. And so I wanted to trace this land. He bought 40 acres, or really more specifically like 39 and change, but he had 40 acres the first round, and then he bought 70 adjacent acres later on. And I didn't know what was happening with this land. Where was this? So a friend helped me find this land, where it was located on a modern map, and it looked like just timber, just kind of like open land. When did my family stop owning this land? I was told by someone that if you had a land patent from the U.S. government, you couldn't sell that land. And I wasn't sure if that was true, but I knew that the land wasn't in the family's hands anymore. And so what I decided to do was try to pinpoint a part of the land, about 20 acres, to see who owned it and when did it transfer hands. And so I'm in the middle of working on that right now. And it's really hard. Like, I can't figure this out on my own. I'm so thankful for the clerk of court in Natchitoches Parish, David Stamey. He is amazing. He hopped right on the phone with me and he started digging through records. And I cannot even tell you how grateful I am. And my goal for this is to understand what happened to the land. What is the story? Why is the land gone? And to be honest, I mean, I not only want to visit that land, but I would love to buy part of it, even if it was just a little bit, to just own it and have that story and the knowledge that we were able to preserve a piece of that for my family and hopefully inspire others to do the same thing. But I'm not going to lie to you, this is not easy. I'm in the middle of it right now. I don't have a way to just neatly wrap this video up and say, and then it ended great. And here's some B-roll of me walking around the land that I bought. No, I'm still trying to figure out, how did the land change hands? What happened to it? But understanding the significance of this land for my ancestor and others like him was eye-opening, because the Land Act of 1820 made it possible for more people to buy land. But it was still a challenge, especially for freed individuals. So you were able to buy this land as a free person of color. You obviously couldn't own property if you were enslaved still, because technically you were still considered somebody else's property, which is crazy. So I really think for my fifth grandfather, Noel, owning land was more than just having a place to live. It's a statement of your freedom and autonomy in a world that was constantly trying to deny you both. So I've been talking with local historians, genealogists, archivists to see if this dream can become a reality. And I'm so glad it worked out this way, because I remember many of you were with me on the journey when I went down to the former plantation land and I had wanted to walk on it and maybe buy it. And a lot of people were like, listen, shake that stuff off. Like, it's good to have that heritage, but you want to look forward and find that land that he bought when he was free. Like, there's so much more significance. And I can see that now. And it got me excited because it seemed like something that was even more important to hold on to. This is the good stuff, you know? So I want to show you just a couple of the documents just to kind of show you where I found it. And if you think your family may have had land patents that they bought, how I found mine. So let's hop over to that share screen. Okay, so I'll make myself small here. I'm on the Bureau of Land Management.gov. You can just Google Bureau of Land Management, land office records. That's how it popped up for me. And I want to show you the two records. So this is the same ancestor, but you can see that the names aren't spelled the same. And I think that's kind of it's a roadblock when you're doing this, because I wouldn't have thought to spell the name this way because it's not correct. So thankfully I knew the correct spelling, but it helps to just kind of think, well, maybe try other variations phonetically, how something could be spelled. And so here is the 1846 one. The earlier one was the one that was misspelled. And so I typed in his name and they have the patent details here. And it was under the authority of the sale cash entry. This was the 1820 Land Act. And that is how he got that. Oh, I think he got the 80 acres first. I might have had that backward because it's issue date 1846. So here is the first one. I'll make myself even smaller so I can show you what this looks like. And I think this original is in Washington, D.C., but the clerk of court said he thinks they have a copy, so he's looking for that too. So the United States of America, to all whom these presents shall come, greeting, whereas Noel Condé of Natchitoches, Louisiana, has deposited in the General Land Office of the United States a certificate of the Register of Land Office at Natchitoches. He made full payments for these public lands, and here's the descriptions of them. And what's really interesting about this is, you see this one. I want to show you what the other one says. So this was the earlier one. The later one was purchased right about the end of the Civil War. Oops, that's not him. 1860. And remember, this is in Louisiana. So he bought it at the beginning of January 1860. And this one, here he is again, Noel Condé, FMC, and this one looks a little different. That's free man of color. And it was interesting because the other one didn't have that. And I was wondering, well, maybe, we're thinking about in light of what is going on in the country, they feel like they have to make this delineation on this document. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why they put this on here. But they have him on here, free man of color. And it says, they do give and grant unto the said Noel Condé, FMC, and to his heirs in the said tract above described, to have and hold the same together with all the rights, privileges, immunities, appurtenances of whatsoever nature thereunto belonging unto the said Noel Condé FMC and to his heirs and assigns forever. And here's James Buchanan's fake signature on here. And this is amazing to me. This is incredible. These are incredible documents. I remember when I first found this ancestor, I thought the incredible documents were the court case documents where he was suing for freedom, and he ended up winning that case and with damages. I mean, he took him to court for real. Incredible story. And I will leave a link to that video. That was one of my first videos. So it was a long time ago. But to see how far he came, and again, he's in the same area, same town where my mom's gram was born. And I just think about the trajectory of his life and the decisions he made and how they impacted my family, how they impacted me. And I don't take any of this lightly. And that's why I feel like, as much as I love sharing the American story, I love sharing the history that I find, that I have taught previously. There's just something about the family stories that they give me that like little shiver. You know what I mean? It gives me a little shiver to see your family interacting in history. So this is what I'm working on right now. Maybe by the time this video goes out, I'll have had more information, and maybe I will have even been able to kind of figure out what happened to this land. Did it get transferred? When did it get sold out of the family, and what was going on? Because I'm super curious about it. But I can promise you, I'm going to get down there and I'm going to find a piece of this land that I'm allowed to walk on, and I'm going to touch the ground this time, because I didn't get to do that with the plantation. And I'm glad. I feel like this is the right path, and I'm excited to bring you with me. I'm excited to bring you with me. And I think part of what gets me so passionate about this is that this was almost gone. Like, literally no one in my family, we would have had no idea about this stuff because it wasn't shared. This part of the family story was, I think, intentionally forgotten. And it just makes me wonder what huge, incredible, important stories are hiding in your family tree. And I can promise you there are plenty. Absolutely, there are plenty. There's beautiful stories, there's heartache, there's broken relationships, there's all of the human things are there. But every now and then we get these big, incredible, larger than life ancestors. And that's who Noel Condé is for me. And so I'm so proud to speak his name and tell you about his life. Thank you so much for being with me. If you would like to watch the videos I did where I was going to Louisiana trying to trace his time at the plantation, I'll leave those below. Otherwise, we'll talk soon.